What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be talking about a topic that I know a little bit about. We're going to be talking about what are the best mods to do for the 350Z for the money. Because I mean, if we all had 20 grand laying around, I mean, we'd all have 1,000 horsepower 350s. So this is just my opinion, so don't anybody get butthurt or anything if you don't agree with me. So, number one thing, best bang for your buck in my opinion, become a better driver. I know that sounds super corny, you know, whatever, but chances are, unless you're somebody like Ayrton Senna or Michael Schumacher, Ken Block, Ricky Bobby, you know, you're not a perfect driver, and you can gain a lot as far as track times go by working on your abilities. So there's that. You know, and you don't really, it's the reason why I say it's the best bang for your buck is you don't even really need money. You can do it on the road. I'm not saying race on the road, but you can work on your shifts and your heel to toes and your rev matches, all that. You can do all that easily under speed limit, obeying all laws and everything on the road. So it's free. It doesn't cost anything to become a better driver. It just takes time. So that said, number two, this is where things start to get close because I don't know which one to do first, so or which one would come first, so I'm just gonna say it the way that I did it. Cold air intake, typical. I mean, if you ask somebody what they got done, it's always cold air intake and exhaust. So yeah, cold air intake, it's really nothing noticeable that you're gonna gain, honestly, at least without a tune. Hey, there's another 350. Hey, buddy. So at least not without a tune. It does sound awesome though, so you know, it's worth it. I literally had a guy the other day at the meet tell me or ask me if my car had a turbo on it, because that's how loud my cold air intake is. Second would be a plenum spacer. Plenum spacers actually will give you a noticeable gain, and even without a tune. And if you go get a tune, you'll have even more gains. They're easy to install. They're super cheap. I think you can get them the motor down like 5/16 for like $190, and then it's easy to install. You don't have to pay anybody else to install unless you just want to, or you don't think you can do it, because I mean, some people aren't as mechanically savvy as others. I'm not very mechanically savvy myself, but I could still do it. So you're probably looking at 10 to 15 horsepower from the spacer. Second would be an exhaust. Okay, I got a little V6 Mustang right here. We're gonna have some fun. Does he want to go? No, he don't want to go. Alright, I gotta do a pull. Sorry guys, interrupting. And let's slow down. Okay. Back to what I was talking about, exhaust. So the exhaust is not cheap. The exhaust that I want is a Motordyne Shockwave TDX2 with the Motordyne art pops. I mean, that exhaust is a work of art. So, and you're looking at 10 to 15 horsepower from that, maybe, with a tune. So all together, with the plenum spacer, cold air intake, and exhaust, it's able to breathe a lot better, especially with the DEs. I forgot to say that. With the DEs, the plenum spacer is the big one. If you have a rev up or a HR, I don't know how much a plenum spacer is going to help. So definitely look into that. Yeah, so with the DE, you're going to be looking at 270 to the wheels, roughly. I know it just depends, you know, what kind of mood your car is that day, how hot it is outside, how humid it is outside. So I'd say 260 to 270 at the wheels. So, you know, well over 300 at the motor. So the next mod, which is probably should have been a little higher on the list, but like I said, I'm doing it off the top of my head, and it's not really like a motor modification, would be a coilover suspension, because what good is all this power if you can't keep the car flat on the road, or you just can't drive it? So get a coilover suspension. It doesn't have to be a low rider, but something that can handle turns. The 350Z suspension from the factory, I have the track edition. I don't know if the suspension on mine's any better than the average one, but it is still, in my opinion, a really soft. I wasn't gonna say a little soft, but it's really soft. I get that because they had to find a car. They knew people that bought this car weren't like super rich that had a Lamborghini sitting in the garage. You know, they knew that people that bought this car were going to DD it. So I understand that they gotta find a compromise. So there's that. You can get, if you want to go cheap, you can get a set of Raceland coilovers for, I think the Raceland Ultimos are $500, and from what I've heard, they're pretty decent for what they are. Next would be, you know, next up in the price bracket would be a set of BC coilovers. If you do that, I would recommend getting the Swift springs, and I think with those you're going to be talking about $1,100 to $1,200. I'm not exactly that. Again, you just need to look it up. And that's about it. I mean, you don't really need rims, although most everybody obviously puts some rims on their car. So I guess that's more of a up to the person type thing. So that's it. So now, I meant to say this at the beginning, so I'll put it somewhere in the video title probably. I've got a surprise for y'all. It's going to be something really cool, and I think most of y'all are going to like it.